Happy Wednesday, everyone. Happy Hump Day. It's your girl Adina with the ninth edition of the Liberated Pussy podcast. I am here and I'm waiting for my sis Monique. We're going to be talking about sacred union and the things we've been talking about in our goddess gathering when we meet every Wednesday. Not Wednesday, we meet on Thursday. Oh, Monique, I see you here. Let me add you. Started. And how y'all been? What's going on? Peace. Peace, brother. $1 billion boom. Peace, peace, peace. Peace and blessings. We want to talk about, okay, let's see. Accept. Go live. Hey, look at our technology. It's working on out. IG is our friend today. Come on, come on, come on. Here she comes, y'all. Okay, it says we've added. Peace to Hootie. How you doing, brother? Yes, peace, peace, peace. Okay. It says Monique is added. I'm going to try it again. Nope, it's there. So today we're talking about sacred union and really getting the lessons from our relationships. Our relationships come to teach us so much, and really it's about ourselves. Our culture right now really has us thinking that it's about the other. Okay, let me invite Monique again. Let's see what happens. Come on, technology. You're our friend. So like I said, we wanted to talk about, here she is.
Hi
Hello,
there.
my darling.
How
My
are you?
darling.
Hi.
You're in LA with your sleeves out. I'm in the DC area with sleeves
That
on.
is the first. That's what I was like. I was like, oh, we got on the same color, but we're in a different season.
Different season. You doing summer, I'm doing fall. It's
Girl,
all
I'm doing
good, but
Los
we are
Angeles. You know,
in
Los Angeles.
alignment.
This is what Los Angeles offers. I appreciate
Always
it.
in alignment. Yes. So I was just giving the folks a little overview of what we're talking about, which
Yeah.
is sacred union and how to connect with the other and get your lesson. You know,
Yes.
we're in an environment where folks are thinking everybody is toxic, but they're not looking in the mirror. Hello.
I find that to be
Hello.
hilarious.
So funny. We
But
tell
I
on
also
ourselves.
remember when I was that way. I very
Yes.
much remember when I always thought the problem was with somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
and 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 the ways I supported that belief. I'm very aware of the ways that I supported that belief system. And
Well, when we look at the culture, everything tells us that. You know,
yes,
like it starts when you're watching the soap operas with your grandma, like
right,
we all did when you're homesick watching, Victor Newman or whoever doing what with whoever. It's always what
yes,
did he do, what did they do, and oh my God, and all those kinds of things. So we really have been groomed to look outside for our answers, not inside.
yes. And it's
Yeah.
it's so interesting. You're right, because I've been watching this show recently on
Mhm.
television, and one of the things that I noticed while I was watching it was like, oh, everything is about somebody else. Nobody is doing any, no one is thinking about their own behavior. No one is thinking about what they did. And it's television, so I get it, but we spend so much time
Yes.
in front of these televisions.
Yes.
We spend so much time really being influenced by the stories that we consume. And
The movies, the TV, the book, then the
yes,
conversation, it has people
yeah,
stuck in a way that they can never get what they want when you're looking outside.
right,
Mm-hmm.
right. And you're right, everything in the culture affirms it. I feel like I'm gonna have to sneeze. Whew.
Okay.
Okay, it's gonna happen if it's going to. Okay. um so
So what are your thoughts on that? Like getting the lessons from these journeys. Oftentimes people will say, oh, there's no more good men, or men say, oh, there are no more good women. Women are on
mhm.
this, men are on that. Like, how are we all here, 8 billion people plus on the planet, but can't figure out how to connect? What's that? What is that there are no more good people? Do we think the creator has a shop for just assholes and assholettes, Or
That's
is there
funny.
just a shop of people that we have to learn how to connect with? And really, it's this one
Yeah,
first. What are your
yeah.
thoughts?
I agree. I feel like we abandon ourselves, you know.
Yeah.
So and the thing that I'm learning, this womanhood journey is so powerful. I just want to say that I feel like I have to sneeze, but it's not coming, so I'm going to just keep talking. And if you guys see me,
Okay.
excuse me.
Yay!
Sorry. Thank
Do
you.
it again.
I know, right?
Bless
Let's
you.
see. Okay.
Bless you.
Anyway, thank you. I have to do it again. You said.
Mhm.
I'm
Bless
sitting in the grass, y'all. I'm sitting in the grass. Darn
Oh
it.
my
Okay.
goodness. Bless you,
So,
goddess.
thank you. Um, this journey being a woman and learning what the biology of that, you know. So the biology of that is like, oh, I could have a baby, right? Like I can have sex and sex can create a baby. And that's one part of it, but then it's like what's the greater makeup of that? What is Oh, so that's creative power. Like I can
Yeah.
create life.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's so interesting. I can create life. But it's deeper than that, because it's not just about a child that I create. And then as I go deeper and I'm like, oh, this is a subconscious experience. This energy is truly about what's inside of me is coming out of me.
Come on. Come on
Because
now.
that's what having a baby is. It's like
Right.
you give birth to something that's inside of you.
Right.
Okay, so if I'm giving birth to what's inside of me, what's inside of
That's
me?
the question. It can't come out if it's not in there.
Right,
What's in
right, right.
there?
And here's the thing. It's like when I started to realize the people in my life come out of my mind, because my energy is generated in a frequency that draws in people who align to my frequency, to my thought frequency, to the way that I think. So every person in my life is an extension of my mind, except for the one that came out of my body. I do have one that came out of my body, and he is also an extension of my mind. And so being a woman is so powerful. And what I have seen is that not knowing who I am leaves all the power on the table, gives it all over to somebody.
Still creating. You're unconsciously creating then.
That's
and
right.
I would say maybe 99% of the world creates that way, men and women, unconsciously.
Yes, that's right. So when you say, I think your question was relationships and how, how we are with relationships. For me, it's just really not only knowing that the relationship that I have with myself is the most important, but treating myself like the relationship I have with myself is the most important.
Right.
Like really being devoted to me. And people will think that is selfish, and people will think that is, we have all these words running around here now, narcissistic and all this kind of stuff. All I know is that if we don't know ourselves and prioritize ourselves, we don't have a right to ask someone else to do what we won't do for ourselves. You don't have a right to do it.
Why is it, like, I've heard women and men say things like when we have this conversation about love, and the feeling is that love is just about the other. Like love is something that you extend together. Of course you extend it to the other, but in order to really, really, really love someone, how can you love someone if you're not really, really, really loving you? How? You don't even know how.
That's right.
You really don't have a place to stand on for that if it's just about putting yourself to the side and then just giving from an empty cup.
Right. It's such an interesting thing, because it's the world that we're in. It's all the fairy tales and all the television shows and all the marketing of looking for love outside of yourself. It's so interesting. There was a post of this woman crying, saying, "What's wrong that I just want somebody to love me?" And she was she was crying, but I could feel her agony. I could feel it. I could feel her agony. And what I could see was that she just doesn't love herself. She's looking for somebody to give her something she will not give to herself. And I remember that feeling.
Yes.
I remember when I didn't know myself. I remember when I was in a state of constant self-abandoning, not able to feel my feelings, not really truly curious even about my feelings, only looking for that hit of like, you know, romance or somebody's interested in me, the dopamine, right? And that would give me the feeling that I was alive or connected or valuable. And so I would go from one to the other looking for that dopamine hit. And when I started the work of actually coming into my, because I've been doing work to heal, and I did all manner of work to heal family patterns and to heal generational trauma and to heal like all this stuff I had done. And then I sat down one day and Spirit said, okay, now you can get to know yourself. And I remember saying, what do you mean now I can get to know myself? I have been doing this for years.
For
said,
years.
You don't even know yourself yet. Okay, Bumblebee. Thank you, Bumblebee.
You're
Thank
a flower.
Thank
You're
you.
A flower.
Thank you. I love that. I love bumblebee. You know, bumblebees are such, I mean, bees are such high frequency beings. So I appreciate it. And it's hard to talk when I have a bee trying to get in my
in your mouth.
Right. But it was really interesting when I heard Spirit say, you don't know yourself yet. I was like, I've been doing this work for a long, what do you mean I don't know myself?
Yes.
And it was true. It was true. I was like, oh gosh, like I don't really know how my intuition works. I don't really know what my needs are. I don't really know what makes me happy. I don't really know, like, it's such an interesting thing. Like, you know, I could talk on it, but I was born into like a family that was of open relators. Like my parents were like open relators. So because of that kind of experience of men having more than one woman and women having has always been like common for me.
Right.
But when I started to really understand myself, it was like, that's what I was born into, but I don't know that that's who I am.
You get to choose.
Right.
I understand that because I have an African father, and if you know African and men from the Caribbean, they believe in multiplicity. You know, it's just how it is.
Yes.
So I totally understand your come from place. I get it.
Yes. So I had to really, and I'm still doing that work. I'm still looking at like what actually would feel good to me in intimate relationship. I don't know. But I'm curious though. How about you?
So it's really beautiful when you start to ask yourself the questions. As a young woman, I don't think we take the time to question what we want or what we desire. We were told in the fairy tales about this is what you want. You know, you get married, you get a job, you have a baby, you know, and it's kind of laid out and you walk that path. But for me, you know, I did all of that and walking the path, I still didn't know, like you said, what really makes me happy or what do I really want? So how do you bring to a relationship? So now I'm married with 3 babies and I don't know what I really want. I mean, that's you know, it's like, wait, what?
I know. Isn't that an amazing thing? I feel like when I was saying I do, literally standing in front of the woman who was marrying us, I heard the voice in me say, fuck. This is not it.
Wait, how many people say fuck at the altar? Like, you're saying I do, and inside you saying I don't? Is that what's happening?
And here was the thing. I was like, oh, you've been told that this was the pinnacle of your expression of love. And you're at the altar and you see that you're wrong. That's not it.
That's not it.
And so in that moment, and maybe, you know, several months later, I was like, oh, I really like to chase. Like, I'm a bit of I have a natural sort of game player in me, meaning like, you know what I mean? Like, I like to win. I like to, right? Like, and so it was almost, but I was unconscious about that. It was the pursuit of marriage really at the depths of myself was like, oh, this was the game I was given as a woman, and I'm going to play it and win. And when I'm at the altar winning the game, I'm like, huh, this is not it. And it had nothing to do with my partner.
No.
It had nothing to do with the person that I was marrying. It had everything to do with the way I had been conditioned to believe that the answers were outside of me, the pursuit was outside of me, and that love was outside of me. And so it was a formidable idea that I have accepted, you know what I mean? And I'm not married anymore also. But I was married for 7 years, and I did that for 7 years. And I did it. I made a decision to do it. It was like, you did this, so do it.
Do it.
You know,
Do it.
you did this, so do it. So don't leave. So I did it. I did it. And I wasn't the one that left. And that's, you know what I mean? I don't want to say it that way because that sounds wrong. That's not true. Because in my mind, I probably had left. Like, I wasn't playing the game in the way that they say play the marriage game. I wasn't being a dutiful wife. I wasn't submissive. I didn't give up the pursuits of my heart's desires, which had nothing to do with other men, but had everything to do with my soul. So I didn't sacrifice myself. And then so I had left the game that marriage is.
That's a deep thing, you know. So you left and I stayed. So I'm 27 years into this marriage thing. And and you and I talk about this a lot, but talk about how to stay, how to do it and honor who you are, how to do it and be a liberated pussy. It sounds like oxymorons, but there is a way to do it when you start asking yourself those hard questions of who am I and what do I want, and having the courage to sit with powerful women who can hold you and hold space for you as you discover you. It's a powerful thing. Because nothing outside of you is affirming that. Nothing really. When I sit with you, I'm sitting with a reflection of me, and I know that. When I sit with my other sisters and wherever they are on their path, we all are each other's reflections, but we are helping each other and holding each other as we come home to ourselves. Because that's where home is. It's not and it's nothing against, no matter where you are in your relationship journey, whether you're married, whether you're single, whether you're seeking, the journey is always home to self. Always. And self as a creator, a powerful creator. So you can create the relationships that you want, but trust and believe the relationships that you have or don't have are reflections of you. And so what are you reflecting, sis? What are you reflecting?
It is such a powerful thing. I think one of the things I just heard you say, which is so profound, is that nothing in the world is affirming who you really are. Like, and it's like we really have to accept that as women, that we're not going to find our true selves reflected in television, reflected in the media, reflected in the common idea of womanhood or free women or what's it called? What's that movement called? I can't even think of it. The movement from the 70s for women.
Women's lib.
Yes, right.
The women's lib.
Right.
It's with them.
The feminist movement. The feminist movement, right. Like you're not gonna find yourself you're not gonna find the true power of who you are in any of these external things. Because one of the things that I like to say is, to say that men and women are equal is to lessen my power. To say that I'm equal to a man is to lessen my power. It's to lessen his power, because we're not equal. We're different. We're meant to function differently.
And we're meant to
complement.
We're meant to complement. To think that, and so women, like I had this conversation with one sister, and I do lots of work with women and belly dance classes and so on. But she said to me when she was little, she wanted to be a man, but not from the sexual gender standpoint that we think of it now. People want to be men. She wanted to be a man because she felt like that's where the power was, or to be a boy, like to be a woman was to be powerless. I was like, oh, wow, that's so deep. And that's what she had internalized. So what she was saying was, so now you're telling me, and so now she's, over 40, and you're
Yeah.
telling me that I always had the power. It's like the Wiz. Like, you and I
Yes.
love the Wiz so
That's
much,
right.
and the
That's right.
power was always in you. And for folks to say you're as powerful as someone is still a part of the trick. It's like, no, you don't have to be as powerful as someone else. Everyone has the power that they need. Everyone.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so, but where are you placing it? Are you looking for it outside, or are you connecting with it inside? Are you hooking up your technology inside?
Yes. Are you
Mm-hmm.
hooking up your technology inside?
Mm-hmm.
What I'm learning is that you have to want it more than you want anything else.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I see when I work with women, and when I just with myself even, sometimes I'm doing the work to get something external.
Okay.
And that is like cheating is what I'll say. That's compromise in some way.
Mm-hmm.
And and many of us really want to have a particular outcome,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not that there's anything wrong with desiring a particular outcome, but what I've discovered is that when I'm attached, the attachment can corrupt the
Oh,
process
okay.
of really getting to know myself.
So getting to know yourself is a goal within itself. It doesn't need anything else, and you can still manifest all those other things: car, house, home, baby, job,
Yes.
like whatever it is that you desire. We're talking about the core essence of being alive,
Yes.
and being alive in a female body,
Yes.
and being alive in a melanated female body. This is the
Yes.
top of the pyramid experience. And
Yes.
when you know that, you can leverage that into your greatness, into your goddesshood, into
Yes.
who you really are. Not all the bull that we've been taught. Not all of
Yes.
that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the undoing of the beliefs that we've
Mm-hmm.
been taught. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why, like I see myself, and I have seen myself, and I see with other women, it's like, oh, I'm going to do all of this so that I can get what I want.
Mm-hmm.
That's not why you do it. You
Right.
don't do it to
Right.
get what you want externally.
Mm-hmm.
You do it so that you can actually be who you're meant to be.
Right.
And in the
But,
being a creator and being unaware of being a creator, then you can create whatever you desire. But if you
yeah.
can't access, like I have seen for myself, I've had to let go of the external world. I've had to let go of my hook into the
Mm-hmm.
external world. The external world is an illusion. It
Right. Right.
is an
So you let
illusion.
go of the illusion, and then really everything is available to you. When you
That's
let go of
right.
the illusion, you totally get what you want.
You
You get
totally do.
everything that's to them.
But you cannot go into it trying to get what you want, or even thinking, when I let go of everything, I'm gonna get what I want. You gotta let,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? Like
Let it go. Jump.
you have to let it go. Like you have to be willing to die, is what I would say.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
old self has to be willing to die.
Mhm.
You have to be willing. You have to want it so much that if you never get what you want, you are with yourself, and that's
Yes.
all you could.
And then that
That's
is
what it is.
what you wanted, though. Isn't
Right.
that what you want?
But
Mm-hmm.
people don't, they think they want, ultimately, I really want the marriage, or ultimately, I really want the lot of
Mm-hmm.
money, or ultimately, I
Mm-hmm.
really want this
Mm-hmm.
fancy car, ultimately.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm saying is that anything you're holding
Mm-hmm.
on to, it makes your heart heavy.
Okay. And we got to get light. We got to
That's
get
right.
light.
Anything
Yeah.
you're holding on to makes your heart heavy. And that what I have seen, that has been the biggest challenge.
Mm-hmm.
I see it in other women, and I see it in myself.
Mm-hmm.
This sort of addiction to external thing, and I know I can be so tricky with myself and be like, okay, I'm not anymore. No, you still are. You still are.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
it's just this. I remember I realized one day, a few months, maybe about a year ago, so I was like, oh, I'm addicted to a feeling around sex. And
Mm-hmm.
what I realized was that feeling was keeping me stuck in my lower chakras, so that I really wasn't able to ascend to a frequency of real, true love,
Mm-hmm.
absent of, like, to really see myself fully for what it was just a weight that was weighting me down,
Mm-hmm.
that showed up like stories or feelings
Mm-hmm.
that, like that could have been better, or they did that to me, or um I mean, those are just some of the ways that it was showing up.
Mm-hmm.
Like things that happened in the past didn't happen correctly. If I could have done them right, it's like, oh, when I started to realize, I was like, that's your attachment
Mm-hmm.
to some illusion that there's something better.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like
I do. I do.
yeah, yes, yes.
I and this is an aside, but I'll connect it. I'll put it like this, opportunity to
Mm-hmm.
watch a television show, and it was about cosmetic surgeries that had gone wrong, and these doctors were fixing them. And so I'm looking at it kind of how you would look at a train wreck, like, what? So women, young women getting breast augmentation surgeries at like 17. I'm
Mm.
thinking, geez, your boobs aren't even all the way in yet. Like you're 17, like they're just, you know what I mean? Like,
Right,
and you're
yeah.
augmenting it already. Um, it just was really interesting. And so then, people have had, many, many surgeries. And this is not a judgment on
Yeah.
anyone who's done anything. What it was for me was an observation of people really not happy with the beautiful technology that our spirits are riding in, that they want to
Mm-hmm.
shift it right out the gate. And then even when they get the surgery that was supposed to fix everything and everything's supposed to shine bright and that kind of stuff, they still weren't happy or was done improperly and they have to have it fixed. And so then even having their reveal, sometimes they were still sad. So
Yes.
what they're fixing, it's like fixing the mirror
Yes.
when you have,
A
food
blemish.
on your face, but
That's right.
yes, instead of taking care of you on the inside. So just watching that, I had incredible compassion for them. There were some who had accidents, like car accidents and things like that. So the surgeons were able to help restore things. But there are folks who had, surgeries to look like other people. I'm like, wow, that's deep. Like to look like
Yes.
some celebrity and you did 24 surgeries and spent $150,000 to look like somebody. I'm like, wow, it's just amazing. So
Yeah.
the work we do in God is technology and coming home to yourself is radical self-love and radical
Mm-hmm.
self-acceptance so that you can navigate this dimension, this earth realm in this vehicle that you're in with supreme appreciation for where you are,
Yes.
even as you're becoming. This is not
Yes.
the end of it.
That's
Like at
right.
17, making some major changes like that, like what are you doing? Like, are you going to have a baby? Are you going to nurse? Like,
Right.
what's the plan here? And parents paying for it. I was like,
Yeah.
what? Did your dad
Yes.
pay? That was just
Yes.
it's really interesting to see the state. So that's a level of really being deeply unhappy or deeply tied into the story
Yeah.
about what's acceptable and what you need to be like.
Yes.
You know, you can't
Yes.
the story is telling, or the narrative is saying what you are is inherently not right or wrong. And
Yes.
that is what the goddess has come to say. That's poppycock.
That is
That's
that
straight
is
up bullshit.
that is straight up bullshit and poppycock and ridiculous. It truly is.
Ridiculous.
And when you say something like their parents are paying for it because their parents have the same sense of lack of sense of self that
Mm-hmm.
then is showing up in the children. Like one of the things that's so fascinating, astrology really helps me see how we have these karmic codes.
Mm-hmm.
So if you had a mother that was deeply unhappy
Mm-hmm.
and you're a daughter, there's a great chance that you will follow in her footsteps
Mm-hmm.
of being deeply unhappy or having relationship challenges or addiction challenges,
Mm-hmm.
because it is an energetic pattern
Mm-hmm.
that gets passed down. And I know I
Mm-hmm.
watched myself go through that with my mother. Just
Mm-hmm.
my mother was a lighter skinned woman with fine curly hair, and a lot of her identity was wrapped up in the approval of men, like men approving of her, and that approval came through their sexual desire for her. And I watched myself go through that, and it didn't look exactly like hers, but it smelled the same. Let's say it that way. It smelled the same. And it was such an interesting thing. Like I think the thing that's important that you and I can attest to at the amount of times we've been around the earth is that um the work is deep. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is not a microwave thing. Like there's not it's not a quick fix. Like, oh, I'm
Mm-hmm.
done with that. No, it doesn't. There is deep
Concentric
work.
circles.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I am, I've been around the earth 55 times, and my mother made her transition when she was 47.
Mm-hmm.
And I am, I don't, it's not the same because I've healed a lot of family trauma.
Mm-hmm.
But the work of getting to know myself is so
Yeah.
the work of healing the body took about a decade. Healing the trauma, the family trauma, right? Took at least a decade. But I don't think that that's true for everybody. I
Mm-hmm.
just know that that's what was true for me to like really, I came from a lot of deep, traumatic, shadowy stuff, right? So I had to really find courage to go into it and look at it. But then after that, when Spirit's like, you don't know yourself yet, like this work is like, whoa.
Mm-hmm.
But the uncovering of the gifts and the magic,
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
as I release a belief system of not feeling valuable or not wanting to really stand out or not needing other people's approval for how I show up in the world, as I release those belief systems, what happens is this incredible intimacy with the invisible force, which is the creator,
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
literally. And and I see it in these really subtle ways. Like I can say something to my cats and they do it, like, and I'm not trained them. It's like they're another human being. Like they actually understand. It's not that they understand the language, but they understand the energy behind the language
The
because my
communication.
energy,
You
right,
communicate.
because my energy is getting clearer though. It's
Mm-hmm.
not riddled with
Mm-hmm.
fear and worry and doubt.
I call that the wobble. When you have all those things kind of weighing you
Yeah.
down and you're saying one thing and you're saying the opposite thing, that's the wobble that many of us have. But
Yes.
as you're getting clearer, then you're communicating your intention clearer
Yes.
and you're able to bring what you want back
Yes.
in a better way,
Yes.
which goes back to our relationship piece that we're
Yes.
talking about. That's
Yes.
clearing
That's
up the
right.
wobble.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So I love this work. Like I love, 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 love it. It is so powerful. Like I was with a client the other day and she was like, I'm healing my eyes, and clients who are healing their children and their families and seeing patterns go. Like it's fun. Isn't
Mm-hmm.
it fun?
It is fun.
It's like being
Yeah.
a doula to
Mm-hmm.
women and their spirituality and watching the goddess wake up in women. It's
Mm-hmm.
remarkable. I mean, like, and not, like, I'm going to say, maybe I should, I don't know. But like, I remember when you and I first became friends and I was like, you're going to be doing this, this, and this. And you were like,
Mm-hmm.
huh?
I was.
Like,
I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just trying to get myself together. What are you even talking about? But and I thanked you for that. I thank you for that recently because you saw in me what I couldn't see in myself yet.
yes,
And you said something about being afraid to shine. I know that might sound funny from somebody who's out in front dancing and on stage and things like that. But sometimes in my life, I have tried to make myself smaller, which is
yes,
interesting, or try not to cause too much attention to myself, which is funny because I love attention.
yeah,
Like I love attention, but then sometimes I don't want to be seen. That's the wobble. That's the
yes,
wobble. So
yes,
clearing up that wobble and understanding it's okay, because what was the wobble about? What are they going to think? Or they're going to say that I'm this or I'm too much, all of those things. It wasn't about who I authentically am, because who I
yes.
authentically am does want to be shiny and have on cat ears and wearing a tutu at 50. You know what I mean? That's who I
Yes,
am. But
yeah.
having the courage to be who I am, that's grown woman shit right there.
Yes, that
So,
is something entirely different. And we
mhm,
have the North Node in Aries for the next 16 or 15 months. So, like a year and a
mhm,
quarter, right?
mhm,
And
mhm,
that Aries energy is about having the courage to really stand for yourself, having the courage to understand yourself, to know yourself, to discover yourself. And Aries is about creating, it's
mhm.
about, like, if you don't, like, create something, like the other day I heard
Right.
myself saying, I was in my meditation, I heard myself saying, what you're asking me to do, I don't know. And then Spirit said, flip it and say, you do know how to do it. Even
Yeah.
though you don't know how to do it,
Right.
say, I do know how to do it. And then you will know how to do
Well,
it.
then you discover the path to how. You're
That's
open
right.
to how.
That's
Because
right.
whatever you say, you're right. Whatever
That's
you
right.
say, you're right. If you say that, it's toxic, then it is. If you say you
Yes.
can't find it, then you can't.
Yes.
If you say that you never will, then it won't.
That's
It
right.
won't.
That's
But when
right.
you're open to the possibility of what it could be, then you
That's right.
create. And
Right.
that's what we do.
Yes.
That's what we do with women. That's what we do with ourselves.
Yes.
And it's
Yes.
so beautiful and powerful.
It really is. It's so fun.
It's
Isn't it
fun.
fun?
I
It
know I'm
is.
having a whole lot of fun.
I know. It's been like I've been doing the work to repattern my brain, and I was seeing my doctor yesterday, and he was like, "Oh, you've been doing some emotional purifications."
Mm,
And the emotions is a feeling body, right?
mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm,
so the things that used to feel good to me don't feel good to me anymore. And now
mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, then what does feel good to me now? What
Yeah.
is true? And I don't even know yet, but I
Yeah.
know that the universe is responsive. The creator is responsive and cares about my questions, my query, right?
Let me just ask you a
Yeah.
question. Did you just not say you don't even know, and we just got finished saying you do know?
Yes, 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 yes.
So
But I'm
you're
saying,
open to
right,
discovering
yes,
what it
yes,
is
yes,
now.
right. But I'm
Mm-hmm,
saying when I was at my doctor, right? Like
mm-hmm,
when I was at my
mm-hmm,
doctor and him saying, "Oh, you've cleared up this stuff," and
mm-hmm,
this things that the things that I was once attached to, like a man who looked a certain way. Like I'm a Virgo, so Earth is, I have in the past really cared about appearances and all of these sort of material things, and if he's smart or if she's cool, like all these sort of things. And I'm like, oh, that stuff just doesn't have space anymore.
mm-hmm,
So what will come? What will be, right? Like,
mm-hmm,
I do know that something is going to reveal itself. Now that is what I
mm-hmm.
do know. I do
Yeah,
know, but I
yeah.
I don't know what it is yet. But I'm excited and enthusiastic about what will show up.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, in Goddess Gathering, Goddess Technology, and
Mm-hmm.
Follow the Sun, this is what we're up to.
Yes.
We are using the lessons from our relationships, past, present, and then creating the future from
Yes.
this beautiful sacred knowledge of knowing ourselves better so that
Mm-hmm.
we can attract better, so
Mm-hmm.
that we can really up level our energy into who we are, which is truly magical
Yes.
beings who create our lives. We meet every Thursday, group of women from around the world. We meet virtually, we're
Mm-hmm.
online, and we really share from our heart of hearts, and we heal from our
Yes.
hearts. We heal our
Yes.
chakras, and we go
Yes.
into our magic. It's a magical place. It's a
Mm-hmm.
magical place.
It
So,
really
and so I'll say
is.
it like this: the doors of the church, the sacred Yoni Goddess Church, are now
Are
open.
open. Yes. It's so powerful. And I want you all to know, like, Adina is an incredible teacher, and the work is not just like we're doing ancient work. And Adina is she I don't know if she sees herself this way, but she really has a mastery of a connection to, like, she's like a minister. She really is. Um and so, like, your understanding and your wisdom is pristine, is
Thank
fun. And
you.
then the dancing component, the movement component is so powerful. So we're not just a group of women who are sitting in there just talking and sharing about our problems. That's not what's happening. There is an intention, we have themes, there are rituals and practices, there is body work. Adina and I are there. I'm there with the astrology to help people understand their blueprint, and Adina is there with the wisdom, the ancient wisdom, and the archetypical wisdom, and the dance, because
Yes, we
the
got to dance. If we're doing something,
girl,
we're going to move our booties.
and the dance is everything. Literally, there are times where I'm like, oh, I'm tired. You get up, you say dance, and I get up and do it. I'm like, this changed everything.
It's like it sinks it in. Like we can be
Yes,
from the neck up, but when you drop into the body's like, thank you. I've been here the whole time.
yes.
Put me in, coach. Put me in, coach.
Put me in, coach, is hilarious. That is, and it really is like that. And it's the relationship with the body it's just profound. So I love this. I love using our relationships to heal, getting the lessons from our relationships. I feel like the greatest lessons I have had in my life have been from relating, from that I've learned from relating, not just romantic relationships, even my friendships, like really learning how codependent I could be with women, you know, and not being able to take a step if I don't have somebody next to me, you know what I mean? Or going through something, I got to call somebody right away to be like, oh, it's like, no, sit with it and see if you can work it out. Can you feel it? You know what I mean? Like that's really interesting. Get out of your head with it. You don't have to talk about it right away. You know, it's like really learning how to relate to myself. It is a profound journey, girl. Whew.
We say, in fact, Erica's on here, one of the ladies in our circle. She says, join us, goddesses, is so worth it. So thank you for that, Erica.
I know.
One thing we say in belly dance, because again, everybody's in their head, we say, get out of your head and get into your butt. And of course, everybody laughs at that. Yeah. But the whole point is, like, stop thinking. Like, for a moment, let's just stop thinking and let's really feel.
Yes.
Let's feel where we are, which is what you said. Be with it. Let's be with it so we can shift it. That's what we do. That's what we do. So women who this is calling to your spirit, men who love women and want them to really be the goddesses that you need them to be, encourage them to come into this circle with us, to give birth to themselves in a greater way, and to the women and goddesses that we were born to be. You can do it this lifetime with us or the next, you know, whenever you choose.
Because it ain't going nowhere. The work is not going. That's the last thing I'll say is one of the things that I have discovered is that whatever I'm stepping over and denying and putting aside, it doesn't go anywhere.
It's like laundry. It'll be right there. Those clothes you didn't fold, they'll be there.
Oh, Lord have mercy. It does not. Like sometimes I come in my kitchen and be like, bitch, how come they didn't wash the dishes? Because you didn't do it. Because you didn't do it. Yeah. Who you think I'll do it? I mean, it really is. So whatever emotional patterns you're avoiding, whatever feelings, whatever ways you're calling somebody else's name, blaming somebody, any unforgiveness, it's not going anywhere.
You pick it up and move it.
And that's it, until you pick it up and move it. And that is what I have discovered. Like, oh, I cannot escape myself. Everywhere I go, I have gone from one side of the country to the next. He did this, so I'm gonna move. She did that, so I ain't doing this shit. And wherever it is, wherever I go, there my shit. It don't have nothing to do with them.
Nothing. Girl. Everything to do with you. So Monique, thank you for those kind words today. I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you for seeing me. And I tell you, the love of a sister who is vibrating highly can be such a beautiful reflection for you to see yourself. Yes. If you're ready for this circle, like I said, come on in, because we are healing in love. We are vibrating in love of the goddess and the God. So it's divine masculine and divine feminine in harmony, sweet, perfect harmony. That's where we're coming from. So Goddess Technology, Goddess Gathering, we gather every Thursday, 8 p.m. East Coast time. That's 5 p.m. West Coast time. Do the math for the time in between. But there are links in my bio, links in Monique's bio. If this work is calling you, come on home to yourself. Come on home to deep, beautiful devotion to the goddess within, and watch your relationships change. Get the lessons. And watch it change. Watch your creations.
That's right.
All right, honey.
You can find it in my link tree. They can find it in the link tree, or they can send us a private message so we can send them the link if they need.
Private messages.
All right.
Like slide into them DMs. Hello.
Good to see you.
We're out.
All right. Peace and blessings, everyone. Thank you guys for joining us. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.